Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak, and today is Friday, February 3rd. We're in the heart of late week Super Bowl analysis, and we're looking at everything, the line movements and, of course, props. And right now we're going to talk with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com about one interesting way that some people don't quite realize is another way that people like to bet props in the Super Bowl, which is cross-sport props, which is basically betting like some prop in the Super Bowl and betting that against points scored by a star NBA player or rebounds or something like that. In other words, one prop one result in the Super Bowl as compared with a result in a different sport on the day of the Super Bowl. Right, Joe Duffy?
That is correct, and I've got a few that are going to win.
Yeah, and these can be very profitable because if you can find an edge on both sides of the prop, then your overall edge on the prop can be very, very big. So these can be one of the best ways to bet Super Bowl props. Joe Duffy, what would you like to share with us? What have you found so far?
Well, I've got actually quite a few. If I had one that really stands out the best, I like Florida State points plus 7.5 to Julian Edelman yards. I've got Florida State is projected to get 81 points, while Edelman only 72 yards. So that's really my best bet of any of the props. But I even saw a really good one I liked on Sportsbook Review. When I was researching these, Sportsbook Review pointed out a really good one. Falcons sacks minus 175 to Alex Ovechkin's points. Look, for Ovechkin, of course, he's pacing himself for the postseason. He's actually averaging less than a point per game. And Peter Budaj has been doing a very good job filling in for Jonathan Quick this year for LA. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's held scoreless, both points and assists. And the Falcons should get at least one or two sacks. I don't know. I got a ton more. I don't know if you want to comment on them.
Yeah, let's get all of them. I'll comment first. These are perfect examples of why these props can be so valuable because, if you already like, for example, with the Florida State prop, if you already would be leaning, Julian Edelman under on his yards just alone, and you'd already be leaning Florida State over on their point total just alone, and then you combine those two edges, and you're roughly right on both of them. Right. Your edge on the prop can be astronomical. So these can be a very valuable way to bet Super Bowl props for sure. And because of the Super Bowl, books are happy to offer all kinds of props like these, and they're okay with giving away value in this way, right, Joe?
That is correct, and it means you can make money sitting in front of the TV long before kickoff. Well, not necessarily long before kickoff. You got something to root for, and then the second half of it will come through in the Super Bowl. But yeah, C.J. McCollum, 3-point field goals made plus 5 over the combined field goals. Look, McCollum's averaging 2.5 3-pointers per game. They're going up against OKC. They play the 6th fastest pace in the league. I think that McCollum will get some good looks. OKC isn't the best at shading the 3-point line, but most importantly, I think both of the coaches in the football game know that settling for field goals, you're not going to win this game if you're settling for a bunch of field goals. So I wouldn't be surprised anytime they're kind of in that hyperspace where you could kick a field goal, maybe you could punt, maybe you could go for it. I think that the field goal is going to be the third option in most of those cases. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of field goal attempts. So I do like McCollum 3-point made over the combined field goals. Devontae Freeman rushing yards plus 22.5 to Clemson's points. Freeman, I think, is going to get 59 yards. Clemson will get 74 points, but, that's a 15-point difference, and we're getting 22.5. So I do like that one. South Florida points to Ryan Allen field goal. Allen, I think he's not going to exceed 58 yards, and UCF should get 79 points, according to computer projections that I have. So that's definitely very good at 7.5. Tevin Coleman, minus 5 rushing attempts to Colorado Cal's margin of victory. I think Coleman will get 11 rushes. I have the game projected as a 6-point difference, so that's another good one. But who knows? I'm going to keep looking at them by game time. I might even have a lot more.
Yeah, these do take a little bit of time to sift through and figure out where the edge is. But as you can see, even if you're just dead wrong on one side of the prop and it's just a coin flip, if you're very right on the other side of the prop, it's still a bet with value. And if you're right on both sides of the prop, forget about it. The value's through the roof, right, Joe?
Yeah, and I can't lie to you. One of the things I use for my handicapping is the Ken Palm projections. They're pretty darn good, and obviously the odds makers use that because you don't see a lot of big edges. But I'm using the Ken Palm projections as far as the total points scored in college basketball, and his analytics are absolutely tremendous. So that's a good starting
Yeah.
point. But all in all, I also think there's going to be a lot of snaps in this game. Both teams are going to play a high pace, so that goes into my thinking where I think that the touches it should be at least be their season average or a little bit higher.
Really? So you're expecting kind of an over then? You're maybe leaning to the over in this one.
Well, certainly. Well, you got to keep in mind that the total is sky high.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're going to see quite a few snaps. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much. Give a quick plug for your website, OffshoreInsiders.com. Tell us what you do there.
Well, I do have a wise guy play on the total, a major play on the side, and a bunch of props. In addition to this, some of these are premium props, but I got a bunch of other props, not just cross sport, at offshoreinsiders.com. And in fact, by game time, I will likely add more. Plus, we'll have some basketball on Sunday, offshoreinsiders.com.
All right. And I just wanted to make another mention, which is that another reason why these props can have such great values is, first of all, the limits are relatively low, right?
Yeah.
So the books know if they do get massively burned on one of them, they're not going to get the actual dollar amount that they lose won't be that big. And they're offering them kind of almost as a loss leader so that they can, get a lot of publicity and do marketing about all these props. And so they're okay with offering props that have value, that have obvious value. And there's no reason not to take advantage of it. Right, Joe?
Right. The national anthem is 100% guaranteed to get publicity in just about every single media outlet. And the fact they can bet on the coin flip, you are 100% right. It is a loss leader. And more importantly, it's a chance to get, people who are maybe, haven't signed up for an offshore sports book yet. They're like, what, I like some of these. Maybe I'm going to sign up. And it's a good way to get them started.
Right. Thanks so much, Joe. Talk to you again very soon.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.